There's no better way to start the revolution but by talking about the things that have inspired us to take action. We at Jeevitam believe in बोलने से होता है. We welcome you to our very first episode of Livelihood for Women. We invite our first guest, Miss Deeksha Ahuja, who is an entrepreneur with over 9 years of experience. She's the founder of Incubate, an incubator dedicated to supporting women entrepreneurs. We also have with us co-founder of Jeevitam, Mr. Munish Chawla. Jeevitam is a tech-enabled livelihood platform, and we are launching an exclusive initiative of livelihood for women with the goal of increasing the overall participation of women in the workforce. Participation of women in workforce is inherently imbibed in the core of Incubate, with 100% of the employees being women, and Jeevitam with over 50%. Thank you so much, Deeksha ma'am and Munish sir, for being here today. Now, I would like to request Munish sir to please take this conversation forward.
Thank you, Nikita. Thank you for your warm welcome and very heartiest warm welcome to Deeksha also. Deeksha, I keep saying to you, you are an inspiration for the woman. Okay, you at so young age, you have achieved a lot. As per me, with my so many much of experience, very rarely see a woman of your caliber. So I'm so proud and be happy to have this first conversation of our podcast series, Livelihood for Women, wherein we'll be basically talking about how we all can work together, collaborate together to increase the women workforce participation. That's the whole objective of this podcast series. So warm welcome to you, Deeksha, again.
I am absolutely honored and humbled, Munish, Nikita, and the entire Jeevitam team. I think one of the things that we really need to focus on is diversity is about all of us, right? It's not only a woman problem, it's actually a men and woman problem, and that's what gives me so much happiness to be here today, because we're actually practicing what we preach. So very excited.
Thank you. Deeksha, I have a lot of questions, so I'll straight away shoot to the first one, to you. Uh, Deeksha, you have, as I say, in a very short period, you have so much of experience in ed tech, food tech, healthcare, and many more fields. I don't know how you have done it, but you have done it, right? And you have actually, you know, uh, achieved so much in so young age. What has motivated and influenced you to get into entrepreneurship? That's my first question to you, Diksha.
Right. Manish, I went to St. Xavier's in Bombay. I graduated from there, and I really thank the college. It was a beautiful experience. And when when you're in college, you're figuring out what you don't like rather than figuring out what you like, because that's, I think it's a process of elimination. I interned at a lot of places, whether it was finance, whether it was real estate, whether it was startups. And as every college, you approach your third year, your placement starts. So we also had some amazing companies come. I had offers from Google, Zomato, and a couple of other firms to work for them. Or the next option was, which most of my peers were doing, was going abroad for a master's. But somewhere that did not strike a chord with me as a person. I've always been someone who has been very, very motivated and very, very passionate about creating impact, right? I truly feel that the work that anyone does should have a positive influence on just more than yourself and your immediate family, right? I mean, why else are we the most intelligent race on this planet, right? I think we need to take that into consideration. So that was kind of the start, and then I started thinking, why not try my hands at entrepreneurship, right? I mean, this is back in 2011, 2012. I think our startup ecosystem was very nascent. But it seemed like an exciting opportunity, challenging enough, and I wanted to dip my hands in, education as a space, because my mom's been an educationist. She's one of my biggest inspirations in life. So I think I just put two and two together, and that was the start of the entrepreneurial journey in me. Now, of course, it wasn't easy, but it was probably one of the most fulfilling experiences. And thank you so much for your kind words about me. I think what I've been able to achieve today is purely linked to that one decision, right? Where I said, no to the sort of stereotypical systems of getting a degree, going and working with a A class company, and actually choosing entrepreneurship. So I'm truly happy. I look back and I love my learning curve. So that was the journey.
Really, it's good to hear that. Just coincidence, you started your entrepreneurial journey in 2012, and we also started our after completing my 20 years in the banking world. I also started my entrepreneurial journey again. That is my second innings, I call it, in 2012 only. So I think we have also achieved a big. Okay, but happy to see. But it was, I'm sure it must been, very difficult for you to say no to companies like Google. Google is big, right? Zomato is also now very big, but at that time, Zomato must be a startup. I remember 2012 was early, but saying no to Google would have been really tough for you. So, what has been your journey like? What is that driving you every day? What is that transformation that you wish to bring to Incubate? Incubate is your incubator. What is that you want to do, Diksha?
Right. So again, I think, most entrepreneurs are motivated by the personal experiences, problems, or challenges they face, to actually, come up with an idea or a solution that solves for that, right? And very relevant in my case. So, Munish, when I turned an entrepreneur around, 2012, 2013, there were very few startups in the country, right? Like very, very few. There were not many networks. And if I talk about women founders, I could literally count them on my fingers, because that's how rare they were, right? So the journey was little tough. And the other aspect was that I was waiting in a space like education. Today edtech is one of the most invested in sectors, and India is the largest edtech market globally. But trust me, 9 years back when I started my venture in the edtech space, people would be like, why education? Does education even need transformation, right? So from that mindset to actually figuring out how do you build a business, how do you scale it, what's the right way, who are the stakeholders, the only way for me to do this was to go to a lot of other networking events, meet other entrepreneurs, maybe learn from them or brainstorm with them. And more than often in most of these gatherings, I felt a complete lack of women, right? Like out of like maybe 100 people, there used to be 3 to 4 women. And that somewhere bothered me. Not because I could not go and speak to them. Luckily, I come from a very, very supportive family, and I did not have those problems. But I could see that so many women around me were not attending these networks, were not part of these sessions, and I wanted to change that dynamic or metric, right? With the simple reason that tomorrow, in a couple of years, if there's a girl or if there's a woman who wants to start her business, these biases or these issues don't come in the mind. She doesn't feel lonely, she doesn't feel like how is she going to do it alone, and also lack of role models, right? So that was literally the change, or rather that was the trigger point for me. And through Incubate, that's exactly what we've sought out to solve, right? In a nutshell, the only difference between female entrepreneurs and male entrepreneurs is lack of access to a good network, right? Most men founders have access to great quality networks of experts, mentors, investors, corporates, right? And that's your strategic sort of pull when you are starting a venture. Women, on the other hand, don't have access to such high quality networks, right? And That's exactly what we've built through Incubate. We want to level the playing field. We want to give access to an inclusive network of all stakeholders to women founders. And I think the sky is the limit for them to achieve, what they set out to.
Uh, Diksha, I recently Indra Nui has launched her book. Okay, and I've read this book this week, and when I hear you, I see so much of what resonating, what Indra Nui faced. Right, I think you all women go through the same phase. Okay, most of you, you see the Indra Nui also went through the same what you just now shared. Right, so I'm seeing another Indra Nui in the making. Right,
That's
that's
so
the way
kind
I
of
will
you,
look.
Manish. Thank you.
No, it actually, because I was, when you were speaking, I was resonating with what I have read through recently. So it was, you are in alignment, with what you are taking. And she has also went through the same thing. So that's there. See, I think this is very inspiring, I must say. But, I like to go more deep into with this. How has been, your journey of your entrepreneurship, and uh, focus actually brings a lot of things. What exactly are you focusing now? It has been a good, very inspiring journey for the last 8 years or so, right?
Mhm.
But what is your focus now?
Right. So I kind of, want to break my answer down into two parts, right? One is I kind of want to talk about, what are some of the things that being an entrepreneur teaches you, right? Which more than often we don't see people talk about, right? You'll always talk about, or you'll always see success stories, wins for entrepreneurs, but that's literally the tip of the iceberg, right? You and I both know as entrepreneurs that 9 out of 10 times we end up failing, right? But I don't like to call it failures. I like to call it hiccups, because that is the point where you actually learn, innovate, and come up with something, truly unique, right? So definitely going through this journey of hiccups, staying self motivated throughout this journey, and having the ability to inspire others around you to believe in your vision, right? I think, that is, a couple of the aspects that I have focused on. Coming to what I currently want to see as a change in the ecosystem and where most of my efforts are dedicated are two aspects. One is, of course, to see women actively participating in this ecosystem. And when I say ecosystem, I mean the entirety of it, right? More women in corporates, more women investors. I think there are very, very few women investors. One of the initiatives that we've launched under Incubate is the Incubate Angel Investing Network to get more women to start angel investing. More women, building ecosystems, building networks, of course, more women founders, right? Because ultimately, there is enough data to prove that, diverse companies, diverse teams have almost as much as a 35% higher ROI on capital and are a lot more innovative, right? So there is complete, it makes complete objective and logical sense for, more women to be part of this workforce. And this aligns with, what Jeevitam wants to do, right? To get more women
Yes,
to have, careers, livelihoods, paths. The second aspect for me is, having been part of the startup ecosystem for 10 years in India, I truly feel India will be a superpower because of our entrepreneurs, right? But for that
yes,
to kind of sort of come true, we have to get stakeholders to work together, right? Like founders, investors, corporates, tech companies all need to come under one platform and collectively solve, because nothing happens without collaboration, right? Like you and I spoke, now we are doing this. We see the impact of doing this together, right? So that's
yes.
another thing that I'm kind of focusing on.
Yeah. I really like what you say, right? I'm also a firm believer in collaboration. The problem is so big, this livelihood for women problem is so big that it cannot be done alone. You need to have the stakeholders, you need to have the government with you, you need to have the skill people with you need to have the education people with you need to have the corporate startups, everyone. You just, as you said, I think, we are actually right now, and this is something which is very relevant in the ongoing way. There is a crisis going on. This, uh, in my belief, the crisis is still not over. It is still going on. This Corona thing is really impacting a lot of women, and we hear a lot of I keep reading in the press that a lot of women are going out of the workforce, because a lot of pressure for them is there at home, and there is actually a lot of disruption going on. But I always see, in opportunities and crisis, right? Uh, what are you looking at? Because work from home, Deeksha, for me personally, the way I feel is the biggest innovation which is going to come in, right? You are at home, I'm at home, and we are working, right? That is the way which is there. What it means for the woman, and uh, how can we use this crisis to bring about the positive change which we are looking at, Deeksha?
Right. Absolutely right. I think work from home, future of work, the way and the kind of people we can have in our teams today is phenomenally exceptional, and it's actually positively influencing a lot more women to join, because you no longer have to be at a certain place at a certain time, right? And women have other a lot of household responsibilities to take place. So I would look at this in two ways. There are pros and cons both, right? So let's talk about the pros first. The pros are that today, like I said, women can work out of anywhere.
Yes,
And enough companies, right? Like we were actually, I mean, if you look at a lot of the DNI initiatives with corporates earlier, we would be pushing for more work from home, and a lot of corporates were not convinced, but I think today it's become a way of life, right? So that
yes,
whole mindset has changed, right? So everyone's working from home today. As a woman, if you want to work from home, you can get a job of your liking, or you can do that, because corporates have changed their entire sort of mindset, right? The other thing is, there is also a con to this, and this is more from a societal angle that we all have to sort of change, right? Because the woman's at home and probably the man's also at home, most of the household domestic work, or maybe even childcare, a lot of that pressure has gone to women, and a lot of women have stepped out of the workforce in the past year, right? Because they have had to assume roles of caregivers, right? And I think that's a little unfair, because I think domestic work and childcare is both a man and a woman's responsibility, or rather, everyone in the house's responsibility, right? So, why should a woman have to discount her time given to her career just because, I mean, traditionally, we say, oh, woman of the house. So, in that aspect, I think we need to change that. And the other thing is, today as a company, if I was hiring only men because, whatever, women couldn't come to work, today, if I am not expanding my horizon and networks and reaching out to, networks of women where I can hire from, I'm doing something wrong as a company. I'm actually, losing a lot of my ROI. So I really urge every person out there, whether you're a startup founder, whether you're a big corporate, there are so many networks from where, like, I know Jeevitam is one of them, where you have 54% women participation, right? Please make sure that you increase the channels from where you hire, or the kind of stakeholders and partners you get, because including women will just make such a difference at, of course, your own organizational level, but also at an economic level. As a society, if we want to be that $5 trillion economy, the economic footprint that women bring in is going to be unparalleled.
yes. I see. I'm totally in sync with you, right? What you are saying. I have this, thing in my head. As I said, my wife is also working. She's a teacher, and I see you all as a superwoman. You handle so many things parallelly. Yes, woman in the home. You are expected to look after the children. You have to look after a household, and I agree with you. It must have affected in some way, but I have other perspective also. This, a lot of women, especially in the tier 2, tier 3 cities, who were earlier not having opportunity to work, because they could not migrate to the bigger cities,
Right.
and locally they did not have so much of opportunities. I think there is a lot of window of opportunity, and that number is still not getting reflected in the system. So I have a different view in this particular regard. That yes, I totally sync with you on the point that yes, women who are working they quit because of the internal workforce, but at the same time, they're the women. I see there are a lot of opportunities coming, especially look into the BPO, and BPO have gone back home. So I think that's going to be there. For I as you rightly said, you juggle so many things, right?
Yeah.
Home, office, friends, everyone is you are supposed to look after, and as you are a superwoman, how do you do that? And that's something which is there. As you are running a successful incubator, and you also have multiple jobs at hand.
Hmm.
Well, how do you do it, and what do you enjoy most? In this life which you are leading, entrepreneurial life which you are leading, Diksha.
Right. So, thank you so much for calling us successful. We have a long way to go, but I am proud of the leaps and bounds that we've taken. As an entrepreneur, Munish, and you know this, right? We are so motivated by the change or the impact that we want to see that everything else trumps that, right?
Yeah.
For me, my motivation was that when I started out, I had a lack of strong women network around me, or I didn't have enough women role models. So my motivation is today when I speak to I speak at a lot of colleges. I want those girls to feel that any one of them can be an entrepreneur, right? So we need to create more
Yes.
role models there. Secondly, numbers kind of stare right in my face, right? I mean, just speaking from data, even today in the 21st century in 2021, today women represent just 14% of the startup ecosystem, and probably corporate around the same. I think those numbers really need to go up, and at least my vision is that before my life comes to an end, I want to see that needle on those numbers really change and really really accelerate, right? So I think your impact and what you want to achieve, your vision is what kind of keeps you motivated. What I love about being an entrepreneur, and it might sound a little crazy, but it's the uncertainty of things. It's that adrenaline rush, right? As an entrepreneur, you have the liberty to literally lay down what kind of work you want to do, how you want to achieve it, right? Unlike a job where it's a lot more process oriented, right? And that's an amazing power. And the fact that every day is a new day, there are new challenges, there are new milestones, is just such a refreshing thought, right? Because for me, life is all about you know different challenges, different experiences, right? So, kind of being in that thick and thin, creating new innovations, creating new impact day on day is super exciting, right? And of course, I think the other thing is that you get to meet such amazing people in your journey as an entrepreneur, right? Some of them you want to help, and when you help someone else around you, that's the purest form of happiness, right?
Yeah.
You also meet people who you take so much inspiration from, right? I mean, and as humans, to be inspired is literally to be and live our life to the fullest. So I think meeting the right people, taking inspiration, learning from them, this is what really excites me, and I would not trade what I do today, no matter how tough, challenging it is, for anything else, Manish.
I think yes, entrepreneurs do need also inspiration from many. I think that's the right way to put at it, and I think we have to be positive in wherever we are and whatever we are doing. I think positivity is the single most point. We all entrepreneurs, I keep saying entrepreneurs are always successful entrepreneurs always have to be optimist about what's happening. Uh, so I think this is my last question to you, Nikita. Uh, there are a lot of changes which are happening because of the pandemic. I call it new normal, right? Because there is something like new normal. Working from home is a new normal, right? Uh, so, what do you think? Is it a good time for entrepreneurship in the women also side? Because today work from home is, as I said, opening new vistas for the women, right? What is your view on should women take because is it the right time to get into the entrepreneurship for women?
Absolutely. and I think, one line answer is the future is female. So this is the right time. Uh,
Okay.
but to, elaborate a little bit more, couple of things, now, like you said, right, work from home, I no longer, if it, need to be at a certain place and a time or a location. I can access networks in India and globally just
Yes.
virtually, right? I think that's a big plus. Secondly, the world itself demands change, right? I mean, we can see, people like Linda Gates or a McKinsey, Bezos, putting in billions of dollars into achieving, diversity, gender diversity initiatives, movements like Me Too coming out, making it safer for women. So I think all these have had a positive impact, right? And also on the ecosystem and network side, right? Like, because, we constantly work, whether it's with banks, whether it's tech companies, whether it's corporates, to see how they can be part of, sort of this inclusive network for women. And believe you me, Munish, I am seeing such an amazing response from them. They also want to support in every way, possible. So I think in a day and age like today, this is the right time for women to make that first move. There are so many networks, so many people who do want to lend their support. And also there is a huge business opportunity, right? I mean, one thing I do want to tell everyone is that, whenever we hear the term women entrepreneurship, we think it's social. Of course it's social, but it's also, makes absolute financial sense. Women can create companies in sectors that are new, that probably men can't, right? Let's look at the D2C wave. 70% buying decisions are made by women. 70% founders in these companies are women, right? That's huge impact. Let's look at, female healthcare, or, anything to do with, childcare, mother care. These are big industries waiting to be disrupted, that I think women are forefronting, sort of the innovations in. So like I said, the future is female. This is the right time. So if anyone's listening out here, I would really, really coax them to just make that first move.
So happy to hear your views, Diksha. I know now, I think, and all the listeners will also now understand why I keep saying you are an inspiration, right? Whatever you have said in the last few minutes, I think it makes so much of sense and so relevant in today's context. Yes, beti bachao, beti padhao, uske baad kya? I keep saying that, right? Okay. The good thing is these daughters of ours, women, they are having this opportunity now. They have studied. So I am seeing future for women. I am totally in sync with you. I pray, I wish, I look forward for the women workforce participation increasing. Thank you so much, Diksha. I think I would have continued more, but with the time, I think we need to close here. It was so happy, so good to have you on board, and I wish there are more Dikshas in the universe, so that the this whole thing really multiplies. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Manish. And, I just want to really applaud and commend, men like you. We need you. We actually need you. And, you coming out, whether it is talking about, your two daughters, your wife, we need more stories like this. So I really applaud you and the Jeevitam team for doing this. Thank you.